Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing fantastically well. It is myself, Connor, and we are back with a new addition to the channel. It is Pablo, and we are here with the debrief today. A lot of you guys wanted to see Pablo. I've left it a little bit late. I've joined the stream late. So this little guy is here to say hello. Another addition to the One Leeds family. There we go. But without any further ado, I will introduce my guests, my co-hosts with the mostest. Is that how you say it? Co-host with the mostest? I think it is. But I am joined by two of my favourite co-hosts on the network. It is Brownie, it is KG. We are back to talk everything Leeds United. Fellas, how are we doing? Brownie, how are we doing? We okay, mate?
Yeah, good. Back to work today, so it's back into it, but I can't complain. I've had a nice couple of weeks break. It's been good. So yeah, good to get a show on the road.
Good man. KG, how we doing, mate? I'm just sorry, I'm just reading the Pablo Hernandez. Yeah, that's from my favourite one so far. How you doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, all good, man. It's all good. Nice to have everyone back, and hello to the chat.
Yeah, hello everybody. Yeah, Pablo the puppy is trending. Yeah, I tell you what, it is. Oh God, it's hard work, lads. It's hard work. And if you've ever had a puppy or just a young pet, it's difficult. 2 a.m. starts, 3 a.m. starts. Not good. You know, you see the package and you think, you know, Pablo's there, a nice little cute puppy. You'll bring it home, you know, you pet it, but then it's doing madnesses in the morning. It's not ideal. Hello, Pablo. Has Pablo learned to nutmeg yet? He hasn't. He's scared of football, so there you go. Oh God, there's some madness in the chat. D saying preparing you for having a baby, Connor. I don't think so. Not for me. But let's get into the Leeds United chat, shall we, everybody? It's been a weird one, hasn't it? I almost feel a little bit rusty. I probably sound a little bit rusty. Leeds have been, we've had a break now, haven't we? Obviously, the game was moved about 3 weeks ago. Another madness from the Premier League moved to a Monday night, so Leeds are playing there. All of our other rivals are going to be playing before us. Obviously, since last time we played, I think Burnley were to play 4 times. I think Brownie brought the stat up 4 times before we play Crystal Palace, which is crazy. Obviously, I think Everton have to play 2 times as well. They play Leicester this week. But KG, it's been a bit of a weird thing, hasn't it? It almost feels like an international break.
Yeah, there's been nothing happening, has there? I mean, there was that little thing with TalkSport and Jesse Marsh, but that was much ado about nothing. But other than that, it's been very quiet. There's nothing been happening in the Leeds end anyway. Not that I've seen. No stories that I've seen anywhere of significance. So it's been quite nice, and you know what? It's nice that we went into this break with 10 points out of 12. I say that's the best thing because it hasn't felt so long. It's just felt normal this time.
Yeah, I think it has been. I think we all are in agreement that. I mean, me and Cage have definitely spoke about it, Brownie. That we need a holiday, a huge holiday after this season's over, and it's felt quite nice at the minute, as KG rightly says. We picked up a fair few decent points in our last 4 games, and it's just put us at ease a little bit, hasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you look at the table now, and I think you can count Watford and Norwich out. 1 more win out of 6, and Burnley are looking at needing to win 4 games just to catch us. They've won 4 all season. For me, it's done. That's a bold statement, but I'd be amazed if Burnley even got to 33.
Oh, sorry. I'm just reading the chat, and I've not even like clocked on to what you just said. Then, so you think it's already done?
Yeah, I can't see Burnley getting 8 points. I can't. I don't think Leeds are going to lose the next 6 games. I can't see us losing 6 games on the spin. So for us to pick up anything, then you're looking at Burnley needing 4 wins. They've won 4 out of 31. So I don't know why people think they're going to win 4 out of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, for me, it's. I don't. I don't see the bottom 3 changes. I still don't.
Oh, okay.
It's not flattering still, is it, for Brownie? I don't know if he's still active there, but the still image, mate, if you are, is just frozen. So Brownie is down.
Well, if he is down, I mean, we'll wait for him to come back in. But I will. I'm with him. I've said it.
Yeah, he's back.
Oh, he's there. Okay, yeah, go ahead. Oh.
Mate, basically,
there it is.
He's bottled it. Anyway, mate, go on. I think we got the gist of what he was saying, didn't we?
Yeah, no. In all fairness, I've been the same. Definitely the game before last, but then after the last game, I'm there too. I don't think we're going down at all. I don't think it's even a possibility. Now, people might say
that's correct for you. How me and you were talking.
Yeah,
that is crazy because.
Well,
correct me if I'm wrong, mate. Like when, obviously the Tottenham nonsense that happened with Bielsa and how the squad was at that point. And then obviously I think we all sort of slipped back into that mindset when we just got sort of outplayed by Aston Villa. Has there just sort of been a real switch mindset for you just when Jesse's got to it in the past sort of 4 games? Has it been that quickly?
Yeah, there's various reasons, but just very quickly. The reason why is when at the point of Tottenham, I definitely thought there was nowhere we were going but down. I couldn't see it because just of the style of play, the players' confidence, you could see it in their faces. They weren't happy. It was only going one way. The beatings week after week, game after game, it was putting everyone down. It wasn't just putting us as fans down. You could see it in the players. They weren't enjoying it. There was a lot of players off form. But then you look at us now, we haven't played great. Like, let's look, I mentioned the 10 points out of 12, but these haven't been, romper stomper, Bielsa classic Leeds performances. These have been digging them out. And this is why, because we've got players like Raphinha. We've got Rodrigo doing this thing now. We've got Harrison on the ball, more aggressive and everything else. We've just got other things that those teams below us don't have. And then you even look, Cornet, as good as he is for Burnley, the guy it kind of cost them a few points as well along the way. So where it's not going well for them, it's going for us. Last minute winners here and there. A 3-0 win that never looks like a 3-0 win, but we're getting those. And that's the difference between us and the teams below us, because no matter what, all the games in hand they've got, how many points are we clear?
Of Burnley, we are
8 clear.
8 points, and we're not going to lose every game from here till the end of the season. It's just not going to happen because we will S-house our way to another win somewhere too. So that's just where my confidence is. It's not in the confidence that I think that we're just so good. I just think that we've got more players with X factor that the teams below us don't have.
Brown, I'm just going to come to you on this as well. Yeah. Obviously, I want Cage's thoughts, but is there a case as well? And I was looking through the fixtures today. And I was thinking to myself, I think we can all agree Burnley have got the easier fixture. I think I heard Phil Hay said it as well. He expects them to pick up some points. Whether or not it's going to be enough is a different question. But he expects them, I think we all expect them to pick up some points. I do look at the fixtures between Leeds and Everton. And when I look at sort of Everton having 3 home games, I think it's Palace, Brentford, and it's Leicester. So I do look at those 3 home games, and Everton's home form is decent. I do think they're going to pick up some points there. Is there an argument, Brownie, that Leeds do have the hardest running right now? And for people who don't know the running, it is Crystal Palace away. It's obviously Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, and then it's Brighton at home and Brentford away. Do you think when you actually take a step back and look at it, Leeds do have the hardest running out of those 3?
I wouldn't want to be going to Anfield, I'll tell you that. So that's one of the games for Everton. I mean, you mentioned the 3 games for Everton, the home games. Yeah, on paper, they're good games. Even if they win them all, that only puts them to 37. And like I say, I don't see us not winning another game this season. So I think Everton have to win them games. At this stage of the season, I'd rather be sat with points on the board.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. And like KG alluded to, we have got that. We've done it all season. We beat Burnley at home. We grounded out. We were awful at Norwich away. Absolutely awful, but we got a result there. Yeah. We beat Watford at home, bar the Newcastle game at home where I thought we battered them in the game. That's the only game this season where the teams around us at home we've been done by. So we probably are where we should be. And
Mhm.
Is the pressure on this Palace game?
No, I don't think there is, because all the teams will have played before us again. We're the ones that are in control of our own destiny. We're the ones that are sat with. We're in the 30s points. These teams below us are still sat in 20s. The pressure's heaped on them, and the whole Burnley debacle with the manager. I mean, they've got Ben Mee at the touchline at the weekend. I mean, if the equivalent to us, that would have been us sacking Bielsa and having Liam Cooper stood on the touchline.
Yeah.
It's laughable. It really is. I was sceptical when the change happened. Like I said, I really was. I thought it was just the timing for me. It just didn't sit right. But when you look at Burnley's timing, it makes our timing look good. The only time other than that I felt real fear was after the Aston Villa game, because the Aston Villa game at home, it were bleak. Things looked really bleak then. But 10 points from 12 in games where, yeah, on paper, I mean, it's hard for Jesse Marsch because you think, well, he should win them games, but they've had to go out and win them. They have had to go out and win them, and that's what they've done. And them 10 points out of 12 have put us in a commanding position. I mean, after the Aston Villa game, we were 13 points behind Villa. We're now 3. It's crazy how the table looks. And yes, on paper, Palace look a difficult proposition. They looked good in the FA Cup semi-final. Could that have taken a lot out of them? Who knows, psychologically? But they've won the same amount of games as Leeds. We're having an horrendous season, and Vieira's all singing and dancing, and we've both won 8 games. And it's taken a step back. Yes, Palace have played better football, but the 4 points above us, there's not a lot in it. I was looking at the goals for today, because I thought you think of all their attacking players, the flair players they've got. They've scored 5 more goals than Leeds.
I guess you're probably looking at as well the amounts of games they've lost as well, which is a lot fewer.
They've lost 10, we've lost 15. That's why they've got the 4 extra points, because they've just drawn them games that we've lost.
I think, and we'll obviously get onto Palace in a bit, but I wanted to, obviously we just touched on the relegation picture there, guys, and KG, actually, I want to get your thoughts on that as well, mate, and what we were just talking about, but I want to get your thoughts on Dyche as well. A really interesting football decision, really, because from my point of view, mate, I did a video on it, and it seems like obviously the Norwich result is probably a sackable offence, but it does seem an absolute suicidal move for Burnley, doesn't it? Because you've got to take into context, you know, a lot of people were comparing Bielsa and Dyche and the timing of it, and you know how it's detrimental to both sides. But we've spoken about it and we've laughed about it, haven't we, KG? It's Dyche time. This is what he's been moulded for over the past 4 or 5 seasons. It just seems a very, very interesting decision, I guess you'll say, because we don't have the proof in the pudding. And the only proof of the pudding so far, KG, is a 1-1 draw away at West Ham, which a lot of people would turn around and say that's a good result.
Yeah, I mean, listen, West Ham, you can tell West Ham have got legs on them through the European adventure. It's plain to see on, quite clearly on the TV. But yeah, I mean, I think the new board, when they came in, wanted someone new anyway. And I think that they've been butting heads over transfers and everything else like that. And once that Norwich result came in, it was a perfect time for him to say, well, this is clearly not working, adios. And the only thing is that they didn't get no one in to replace him. That's what they should have had lined up. If you're going to sack someone like Sean Dyche, you have to have a replacement like the next day. And they may be looking for a new manager bounce, but they just don't have the horses. It's quite clear as well that they don't have the horses to get enough points this year. They've had a great run. Like, their run has been great. They've got into Europe, during their Premier League stint. So it's not impossible for us to do it at some point, people. But it's just time. They haven't replenished the squad enough over the years, and it's just their natural time now where it's just one season too many.
Yeah, I think if you take a step back and don't go down the historic route, which he's done a great job. They've won 4 games of football out of 31. This season, It's just not working for them. And I think Cage is right. Like I said, you've got Ben Mee on the touchline. It just doesn't seem right. Something's happened behind the scenes that nobody knows. I mean, I spoke to 2 Burnley players. They didn't even know he'd been sacked. So it wasn't a planned it didn't seem. It just seemed like a bit of a click of the fingers and he was gone type of thing. Something's happened for that to happen. Like Katie says, if it's planned, you've got someone lined up ready to come in, whether it be an Allardyce, whether it be someone who's out of work who can come in and maybe just give them a lift. But the timing, I mean, it was 2 days before the West Ham game. It just seemed mental. As for the relegation picture, the Watford game that we played at their place when Sarr missed that chance at 1-0, and then in the Brentford game, there's another one where he's missed from 3 yards. It just doesn't seem, things like that keep happening for Watford. It just doesn't seem to be going their way for me. So I think 2 out of the 3 are done.
I'm not sure I've ever seen a miss like that. By the way, was it Loser?
Loser, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen that. That was staggering. That was absolutely staggering.
When you're seeing things like that, and then you're seeing Leeds score 90th minute winners against Norwich, 90th minute winners against Wolves. Things like that, just sometimes stuff happens for a reason, and for me, it's just not going for Watford. It really isn't. So yeah, it's between Burnley and Everton for me. It's a dogfight between them two. Like you say, Connor, Everton's home form might just be enough for them. That Man United result's massive for them. Without that, they're in the bottom 3 now. So that Man United result is huge. So if they can pick another one like that up, which, like you said, they've been good at home, so that could probably go in their favour.
Yeah, the first miss was bad enough. You see, Josh King's got away with that one because that was a decent enough chance for him to just slot away. But then the loser one was just unbelievable. And like some people are saying, because I saw that as well about Sean Dyche, he was in Rock City on the weekend anyway, man. He's calm. He's living it up. He's fine, man. So
I saw him in there. There was a tribute band to Oasis. I think they're called Oasis, and he was there like last night. He's absolutely living it up. It's the first time in 10 years he's had a break. So
he's getting millions paid off.
I've got something for Dyche because the way it's going for West Brom, I think they're going to bin Bruce, and I think Dyche is going there next season because I don't think he's going to get into the Premier League again just with a club offering him a job.
It's a good job as well, isn't it, KG? KG, it'd be a good job, that.
Yeah, they've got the resources, so it makes sense to me. West Brom and Sean Dyche next season.
That just sometimes shows when a manager bounce doesn't work. I mean, West Brom was 6th when Steve Bruce went in there.
Yeah,
the 12th now. So this manager bounce, it doesn't always happen, and it is a gamble. It's worked for us. It's worked for Newcastle, albeit they spent 100 million as well. But that us two look to have hopefully pulled away.
And weirdly, the interesting thing, and we're not going to talk about West Brom a lot, but their ex-manager, Valerian Ismail, went in, and it's a very similar footballing philosophy in a way. Take out the press, but to Steve Bruce. So you think that transition would be quite easy for the West Brom players to pick up, but then you start stripping it back, and you do wonder if they've got that respect from that respect for Steve Bruce, because you look at recency bias and all the media attention that was on him at Newcastle, and it's just interesting how football works, I think. Daniel Everson, a really kind comment, would happily pay a subscription fee for the Debrief. Best LUFC content on YouTube. Thanks for the top quality content, lads. Well, it's here for free every single week, Daniel, so you don't need to worry about that, mate. We really appreciate comments like that. Thank you so much. But yeah, I mean, I guess when you're looking at Dyche, you're looking at Burnley, the West Ham result at the weekend. Is it a positive for Burnley? I mean, I've watched some Burnley takes on it today, and I've seen a couple of them saying, it felt deflating because it looked like by the end Nick Pope made an unbelievable save. I've actually not watched the highlights back, but apparently Nick Pope made an unbelievable save. Cornet missed the penalty, and like Brownie's saying, KG, it does almost feel a little bit that we are getting the look of the green.
Well, that's it. And listen, if things were going right for Burnley, I mean, we just spoke about Watford's mishaps. Burnley could have gone 2-0 up before halftime, and it's probably looking a different game against that version of West Ham. West Ham are literally tired. Like they're saving all their energy for the Europa League, and rightly so, because that's a great chance for them to win a cup. But Burnley fans, I can see why they're saying going away to West Ham in the state they're in, they should do better. But this has been the story like all season. Like Brownie says, 4 wins. Like these things don't happen it's too big of a sample size for it to be a coincidence, and all of a sudden, in the last 8 games, they're going to win. And like you mentioned, Nick Pope, you said you didn't see it. It was a tremendous. He made a couple of really top class saves, which is why I call him Sir Nick Pope. And I hope that he gets his move to a bigger club once Burnley go down, because he deserves it. Okay, the guy is top class, but he can't do it on his own. He's been doing it on his own for the last couple of years now. They've got no strikers. They got rid of Wood. Vigos has been hit and miss. He's done all right, but he hasn't scored the goals.
But KG, this is why when I was going on about it with Klaassen being our substitute keeper, and I feel we can go off on a few tangents today because it's been the break, as you say. But it is really interesting. That's why I said at the start of the season, did a transfer video. I said we need to bring in an experienced keeper so Meslier can learn, from whoever it's going to be. And then maybe he displaces Meslier when Meslier is out of form, which at points we have seen this season, and then he fights to get his place back. Competition. That's why you need 2 players in every position, bar an injury. And I do think that having someone like Nick Pope, who's been there, he's done it to a really, really top level. He does almost get overshadowed because a lot of people talk about Burnley's defensive stability, but by God, the amount of saves and top quality saves this guy makes, it's really understated, isn't it?
Listen, let me give you the Nick Pope thing, yeah. And this happened when he first broke into Burnley. I want everyone to know just how good he is, yeah. When he came in, he had Tom Heaton, who was getting in the England squad at that time, ahead of him, and then you had Joe Hart join the party. He displaced both of them. He did that, and he had a long-term shoulder injury. Still came back and got his number 1 jersey back. That's how good the guy is. It's the Burnley factor. It's the fact that he's at Burnley why people aren't rating him the way that they should be. But he is a top-class goalie. Now, you mentioned Meslier needing a backup. If you're going to get a backup for Meslier, somebody made a good suggestion on my stream, and that was Ben Foster. Because I just think you need an experienced head to go with him who can step in if it ever gets tough for Meslier. But he's also giving him the experience. He's giving him the knowledge, the know-how. Ben Foster is a decent shout.
Yeah.
I mean,
I want to know how much. I want to know how much Pope's paying KG Brownie. To be honest with you, that's a sales pitch. That is a sales pitch.
We all know it's hard. I mean, it's hard to get in the England squad, but historically, it's if you play for the top clubs, it's easier to get in the England squad. And Nick Pope's been doing that for Burnley. Nick Pope isn't going to be in the Championship next season, no doubt about that. But for Burnley, they've got a huge game on. Is it Thursday night? Southampton at home. Southampton have picked up 1 point in the last 5 games. Yeah, it was against us. Shock.
No, they just beat Arsenal, Brownie. They just beat Arsenal.
True. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I was playing. Yeah, they beat Arsenal, but so they've come off the back result. So they've got 2 home games, Burnley, before we play. So I think by the time we get to Palace, Burnley will have played. I think they've got Southampton at home, then Wolves at home. Two huge games. If they're still sat on 25 points,
I think I would look at Southampton if I was a Burnley fan and think that could be a classic 1-0 Burnley. But I think Wolves is going to be too tough for them. Wolves are so good away from home as well. I think it'll be a real. And this is
when we're going full circle back to the pressure on the Palace game. Maybe if they pick up 2 wins, then yeah, the Palace game there's pressure on it. But 2 games in what 3 days? What is it? 2 games in? Oh yeah, it'd be 2 games in
4 days.
Yeah, they play on the 21st and the 24th.
Yeah. So what point total would you be happy with Burnley getting, KG, at this stage? I mean, obviously, listen, 0, obviously. But if you're looking at it with a realistic head, out of Southampton and Wolves before they play Leeds, what do you think we're looking at with Burnley? And we have got to look at Burnley because Burnley are playing 2 games and it does impact Leeds. We've got to be real here. Hopefully it won't do. But what are you looking at, mate? Because obviously it's 8 points now, the gap, but that could reduce significantly by the time we play Palace on Monday night under the lights. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I just want to clarify as well. With the reason why I take Foster over Pope is because Pope would want first team football, and he deserve first team football. So that's why.
Give him it.
For the older.
Can I also say? Can I also say there's people in the chat saying Nick Pope won't come to Leeds to sit on the bench, and I'm like, no, I'm not suggesting that. I'm not.
Yeah,
suggesting
that's what I mean. You have
gonna...
to clarify. I'm not saying that he's going to come and sit on the bench and say, "Hey, Melier, go do your thing." It's got to be an experienced guy. That's why I say Ben Foster, but or someone of that ilk. But going back to your Burnley thing, hey, listen, they've also lost Westwood. I don't know if you saw his ankle. Yo, that was horrible. So
who comes in, Sir? What is it, Jack Cork?
Jack Cork. I mean, look, listen to the players that we're talking about here.
What about your boy Brownhill?
You don't need to worry about Burnley.
Brownhill's an ever present. Don't worry about him.
Oh, Brownhill.
If you'd have seen if the chat could have seen our group chat when we were coming up to playing Burnley, you'd have thought we were playing FIFA All Stars. Honestly,
you would never believe it, people. You would have thought Jack Brownhill was Thiago reincarnated. It was unbelievable.
If he's Thiago reincarnated, what's Nick Pope?
But no disrespect to them. No disrespect to them players that we're mentioning. But they are champion. They're championship players.
Yes.
Could you say that about Alba? Could you say that about?
Yeah, and I'm just about to say you can say that about some of our players as well, and that is why we are where we are. But like we said right at the top of the show, we have got them few sprinklings of real quality that could play in top teams in this league as well, whereas the teams below us just haven't got that.
Yeah.
Is there an argument there, though? I know this is me being a little bit pedantic, but
no.
With Wout Weghorst, with Maxwell Cornet, potentially chucking Dwight McNeil there. If you take out Raphinha, now listen,
I can't let you get away with that. Dwight McNeil is awful. No, and I tell you what, he's that bad, yeah. That
you're not even letting me land.
Last month, no. During Dyche's last month, Aaron Lennon was getting in ahead of Dwight McNeil.
He was, yeah, he was. But I'm just saying, in terms of pedigree, in terms of quality on the ball, when you look at these players, when you take Raphinha out of it, how many of these X Factor players that we keep talking about do Leeds have, aside from Rodrigo? What we're looking at here?
You won't like me saying this, Connor.
Go on.
But Jack Harrison's numbers in the Premier League are a joke. And you won't like me saying it. If you're bringing up Dwight McNeil to the party, honestly, you need.
I can't believe you said Dwight McNeil. Honestly,
no, but I'm talking about his general ability. He's a decent ability player, isn't he? If he goes to another club, you're looking at him and you're thinking he's probably going to do all right.
Go join the circus. I want players who can score goals and make goals. Don't want you to look good. Don't want you to do 13 pirouettes in the middle of the pitch. Like
I don't know. I just don't know about this X Factor chat you guys are talking about that Leeds have over other clubs. I'm not sure. Listen, I'm not sure we're on the same page here.
No. Hold on. The X Factor is Jack Harrison scoring 3 goals in 3 consecutive games. It's Rodrigo becoming that creative force that we should have been when we first got him. It's Raphinha finding his form again. It isn't Dwight McNeil wondering when Aaron Lennon's going to pull up with an injury and hoping he can get on the pitch. That's the X Factor we're talking about.
That's an interesting chat, isn't it? It's an interesting chat.
Joe Gelhardt coming on for a last-minute winner. That's X Factor. Not who? Jay Rodriguez and Matez Vidra and all these guys. Come on, Connor. Come on.
But yeah, with the Burnley games this week, I think I can't see him getting in it. 3 maximum. I think they might draw 1, but I can't see them winning both of them. And the only real pressure for the Palace game is if they do win both of them, and then obviously they're right back in it. But they've won 4 games of football for a reason.
Oh man, yeah, fair enough. No, I think that it's just because weird things happen at this stage of the season, and it's a good run for Burnley, I think. So I think we've got to admit that they're going to pick up points, but I don't know. I agree with you. I don't know whether or not it's going to be a succession of wins. But
you're right. People, he doesn't agree at all. He doesn't agree at all. But quickly though. Listen, Arsenal have literally just had a run of games where they thought they were going to take 9 points and they've taken 0. It's just unpredictable in that way.
It is, and Connor's right. Weird things do happen at this stage of the season. I remember Sunderland when they were proper struggling, and then they went to, I think Connor Wickham scored at Arsenal. They went and won at Arsenal. The teams pull out results at workplaces, and does Connor think we can pull one out?
Do you know what? In all fairness, I didn't think I thought Watford would be a real struggle. The Watford game was so strange, wasn't it? It was a bizarre game. Because I didn't think Leeds played well at all. But, then you win the game 3-0. So, yeah, I mean, maybe that's the difference. Maybe that is the difference. I just, and I've said this to you guys before. It's a very different situation. Obviously, Dyche isn't in charge, but I do look at that period where Ben Mee was back, and I don't know whether or not he's going to be in charge now, but obviously they beat Brighton away, beat Spurs at home. And yeah, it was just a decent period for them. I do think if they have 2 home games, then, but I don't know. It's one of those things where it's a difficult one to predict because it's Burnley. But yeah, we've got to analyse every single game, haven't we?
One thing I found interesting of the last, especially when we won at Watford, like your media outlets that talk about relegation, they're not mentioning Leeds anymore.
No.
Right, hold on. Let me just attach this. Connor, get off Harrison's back. He's been one of our best. No, he hasn't. No, he has not. No, he has not. Aside from when Jesse Marsch came in, he'd scored 3 goals against West Ham, an unbelievable performance. He'd scored against Crewe and got an assist against Burnley. That was it. So we went about 18, 19 games without registering anything. So he's not been one of our best players this year. As KG always says with football fans, the recency bias is unbelievable. Yeah, he's done really well recently. But overall this season, he has not been one of our best players. If you want to compare him to Raphinha, who has consistently done it, then we're talking. But anyway.
Is there an argument that Raphinha hasn't done it in the last few months?
By his standards, by anybody else's standards, Raphinha would have done it. But it's by his standards. Yeah, it's dropped a little bit, but I don't know if that's him. That's below standard, if that makes sense. But yeah, it's just I just want to see. I think we want to see more consistency from him, but that's just my opinion. But yeah, guys, keep getting your questions in. We did get a lot of questions in, and as KG rightly brought up, a lot of the questions on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you so much for your responses, by the way, and YouTube were very much sort of end of season-y, which I completely agree with, when we're having a chat about that. So we're not going to get into them too much, but KG's brought up Rodrigo, and I want to fire it to him. Do we think Rodrigo can keep this sort of form up?
I hope so. It's really good. That's the thing as well, and that goes to the further point of us just having players that can do the things that he can do that teams below us can't, because it is good to see him in the vein he is, and even on social media, he looks happier than I think this is the happiest I've ever seen the guy. Like even the purple patch he had towards the end of last season, he wasn't looking this comfortable. So I hope that he can continue this, and if he stays this way and in this form, be a valuable member of the squad next season. But he has to keep it up. Obviously, the larger sample size says he won't. But I'm hoping that under Jesse Marsch and him being one of the main characters in the dressing room, that it's something that he relishes and wants to take towards and try and get to the World Cup as well. He's a World Cup year. So, yeah, I'm at the moment, I'm optimistic with Rodrigo. I might be being silly, but I think that he's going to become good for the rest of the season.
I think he's always looked like he's had that ability. He's always looked like he's had that quality.
He's clearly levels above so many of them, isn't he? It's
sometimes it looks like he is levels above, and a bad pass looks horrendous, but it should be where someone else should be. If he's in a Spain squad, he's got someone running onto it because they've got a brain cell type thing. It's felt like that a little bit with Rodrigo. Cage is right, it's a World Cup year, and when players are coming towards an end of a season and they want to move, it's amazing how well some players perform in comparison to the rest of the season. Not saying Rodrigo's doing that, I'm just saying in general, footballers, when the contract's running out or they want to move, suddenly they've pulled 5 or 6 goals out of the backside. So whatever it is, I don't care. If it propels Leeds to staying up this season and he scores another 3 or 4 goals, that's great. I think the leadership thing that Jesse Marsch has brought in, him being part of that has definitely helped. You've seen him be more vocal on the pitch, especially at Wolves. You saw him barking orders at Harrison. You saw him shouting at Dan James. He's definitely become more vocal on the pitch and more authoritative, which maybe that's brought a new breed of confidence for him. But there's definitely been a significant improvement since Marsch has come in with Rodrigo.
And also, he's not having to do the legwork he was doing before, and that's quite clear that he's enjoying not having to run around like a headless chicken anymore. So it's quite clear he enjoys that too.
The pitch is more, like we've said, it's so condensed. There's so many bodies in the middle of the pitch. Cage is right. He's not having to track all the way back because there's another 15 people in the middle of the pitch to do it. He's saving his energy and for when he's got the ball in an attacking area. You don't really see him very rarely over the halfway line defensively.
It's going to be a fascinating summer, isn't it? Are we still in the mindset of this being a complete overhaul this summer, or are we in the mindset as a trio that it needs to be very, very meticulous and it needs to be sort of 3 or 4 players being moved on? Because I saw and you know, maybe 1 or 2 been moved in, but I saw the loan list today, and you got players like obviously Bogus on there, Ian Poveda, Leif Davis, Helder Costa, and I'm looking at all these positions and I'm thinking sell. And I look at maybe Cody Drame, and I thought I wouldn't mind seeing him next season potentially, but there's still a bit of an asterisk there for me. What are our thoughts there, KG?
Now, for me, I mean, if I had my way, if this was like Championship Manager, a lot of these guys will be gone. I said it last summer, though, it needed to be like 3, 4, 5 that needed to go, and it didn't happen. So, again, we're like 2 windows behind. But for me, you're looking at least 2 wing backs, 2 central midfielders, a striker, and then, of course, the attacking midfielders, which is the role, which is the kind of system he wants to play. So you kind of think that maybe a couple of the wingers are at risk of being sold off. So there's a lot of work to be done. A backup keeper as well, that needs to be done. So there is a lot of work to be done with this squad. We haven't finished where we are. We have for a reason.
Yeah.
For no reason.
I think that's been the problem for the last few years as well. Like you say, we've not had 2 in every position. We've had to put square pegs in round holes. We've had to move players around. We're still seeing it now. Players playing, and us as fans were looking and thinking, why is he playing there? Why is he not here? What? And we've been like that for a few years now. And I'd like to see bodies added. I really would like to see bodies added, so we're not having to do the square pegs in round holes and moving people around. I'd like to see bodies come in before we did, like, press the reset button and start getting rid of some of these players, because I'm sick of having a squad of 14, 15 players every week, and that's what we've had sometimes. The article from Victor Water about we're going down the youth way worried me. It scared me a bit. It doesn't go hand in hand with Radrizzani saying we're going for Europe. They don't match up. You're not going to Europe with just going down the youngsters route. But yeah, the players you listed there, Connor, you'd look to be selling them all. You're right, Cody Drame, I mean, he's gone into Cardiff, and I think I saw he was up for Player of the Year, so he must have had a good half of the season. He's still young. So, like you say, he could be one that comes in. Like you say, Luke Ayling's not getting any younger. Is Shackleton ever really going to be our right back? Probably not. So you can put up a case for Cody Drame. But for the rest of them, I mean, Poveda, is he ever going to be up to Raphinha, Jack Harrison, Dan James level? Not for me. Costa, he's obviously going to stay over in Spain. And who was the other one we mentioned? Leif Davis. If Bournemouth get promoted, it's a good chance for him to play Premier League football. So yeah, they're the ones you're looking to get rid of. But for me, I'd rather see bodies coming in than going out again. Because last summer, I think we can all agree it was like well, we'll just replace rather than add. It was just replacing bodies.
Yeah. It's what I feel like that's what it's been for a while. Aside from the time when we came up to the Premier League, when you actually felt like we were, investing a lot of money and getting a plethora of different positions, but has felt like that for a while.
And like KG says, we are where we are for a reason. And then that next band of teams, like your Palace that you say, and there's the Leicester,
Villa,
who else? Villa, Southampton. When someone goes out, it's similar quality coming in, and that's why they're just that few little, well, there's not many points in it, but that 5 or 10 points above us, because in certain games where they can rest 1 or 2, when we rest 1 or 2, or we've got 1 or 2 injuries, you can really see a drop in quality.
Yeah, but this is where the bod come into it for me, and you mentioned Villa there, but like Conor Hourihane, big part of their promotion campaign, everything. He's been sent out on loan twice because he isn't up to the level of the Premier League.
Great example.
It's up to these guys now to say that to a lot of these guys that got us up. Sorry, lads, this is it now. Unless you're going to accept a real bench role, unless our new first team isn't injured, then you're going to have to leave. But I just don't think they've got the backbone to do it. I think that it's just so comfortable and so family orientated there that they're not going to do it to the players. But we need to move these players on. When you look at these players playing football compared to other football players, these guys are just not it. And like Brownie's talking about, he wants to see additions as well, to bolster the squad. I want to see a few of these guys gone, because when I see them on the team sheet, I don't feel very excited. I just don't know if they're going to be up to the job or not. So I need real quality coming in now. I need players with technical ability. I need this honest bunch to turn into a bit more aggressive, got a bit more belief in themselves as well, like they're going to win games. I need that.
Touching on Villa, and it's a great example. I think that their real quality came from the Jack Grealish money, 100 million. It really helped them bring in. They used it. They didn't just bank it. They used it to bring in 3 or 4 quality players.
Top players.
And is that the road we go down with? I hate to say it, Raphinha in the summer. Do we sell him for 60, 70 million and we use it for 2 or 3 players? I don't know what people would think. Would we rather have Raphinha, or would we rather have 2 or 3 20, 30 million pound players?
That was actually one of the Instagram questions.
There you go.
So there you go. Yes, that's a really, really interesting one. I mean, I guess the caveat to that is if Leeds had no money, then maybe you'd look at selling Raphinha to work out those 2 or 3 positions. But then you look at how much does a top quality player, top quality operator look like in those positions? If you want 2 flying fullbacks who are really going to be brilliant for Leeds in this system, and the fullbacks are so part of the modern day game, aren't they? Are they going to cost sort of 15 to 20 million? You factor all that in, don't you? But you'd hope that Leeds have a little bit of money on top of the Raphinha money if we were to sell him, KG.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, we all thought that we were broke towards the end of the summer window, and then all of a sudden Dan James was available and we got 30 million. So we just don't know the finances here. We just don't. But what I do know is that they do need to sell a few of these players. We need to recoup some money back. And like we talked about Helder Costa, I think even Mateus Klick could get you 4 or 5 million if possible from Holland or Germany. We need to start looking at this now and getting some money back and then reinvesting in this team. It's just stood still for too long. And I'll tell you what made it even more real for me is when I was watching Brentford and Janssen scored the winner and said Janssen's been there for 3 years, but yet Janssen could go Leeds tomorrow and know nearly everybody in that squad. Like, it shouldn't be that way when he left 3 years ago.
I think KJ, I think it's when you see on this days as well. Did you ever just scroll on Twitter and Instagram and say on this day in 2017, Leeds scored against whoever, Cardiff, and you will see still a nucleus of at least 6 of them who are still there.
On the finance thing, KJ makes a good point. We just from nowhere pulled £30 million out of our pocket for Dan James. We've only recently released the accounts, and we're not 26 million in profit.
Yeah, it's they're absolutely fantastic. Yeah, because
the accounts are unbelievable. So it does look like Raphinha will leave. So if you're 26 million in profit, you're getting at least 60 for Raphinha.
Yeah,
there's 100 million there without even going into debt. So for me, there's no real excuse in the summer to not see a good chunk of bodies coming in. And like you say, KG, you like Helder Costa. Would you probably get 10 million for him, possibly in Spain? He's played a lot of games. He's played a lot of games for Valencia. I think you'd be looking around that in this market. He's played week in, week out in La Liga.
It's true though. Some of the how you're able to tout certain players out for such high fees is unbelievable nowadays. I mean, I can't imagine Helder Costa's got more than 2 goals. He might have played every single game this season, but from the last time I checked, he's not stat padding at all. No. But he has played every game and does that bump your value up? Not every game, but he's played a whole host of games. Does that bump your value up a little bit? It probably does.
But also as well, what people are going to understand is there's going to be a lot of free transfers and a lot of loans that will be, trust me, significantly better than what we've got in the first 11. I look at like a Boubacar Kamara. Now, if we're serious, man, we're Premier League, Leeds United. There is no reason why we can't be talking to him. There's
but
no reason.
KG, I think it's. Cause I hear you say this a lot, and I think it's a really good point. Well, you know, when you talk about where Leeds United, where Premier League Leeds United, you're correct, but without any disrespect, you do look at the makeup of the squad, and they have earned their right to be Premier League players, but it's not made up of Premier League elite talent. So it's really difficult, I think, for fans to shift that way, because it's, you know, we've still got, and this is once again without any disrespect, they've done fantastic jobs for us. You know, your Jamie Shackletons, your Liam Coopers, your Matthias Klicks, your Helder Costas, you know, all of these players are still on the books. So I think it's really difficult for fans to switch that mentality. Do you see what I'm trying to get at there?
Yeah. Listen, I've said it on my streams before, because a lot of people do tell me they only watch Leeds United. And that's why whenever I ask for suggestions, they'll say Nketiah. And it's because he scored against us in the cup, and it's like no, Nketiah is not the answer here. But you have to move on. When I'm talking about wanting to get to Europe in the next couple of years, you have to move on from these players, and that's what the board have got to do. It's enough of me saying it. I've said it all year long. The board have got to realize, if they want to get more value to the club, if they want to get the club more notoriety in Europe, they're going to need to upgrade these players. And like, what better start than like a Kamara in midfield? There's some loan players as well that I would love to mention, but you know, I don't want to give them all away. But there's going to be players out there, yeah. No, there is.
Can you give us a hint? Can you give us a hint?
Listen, you know what? I'll give you a free one. You know, if let's just say Sheffield United didn't go up, Sander Berg, he's come back well from his injury, and he's looking like the midfielder he was before the injury. It's taken some time, but he's there again.
It's going to be all the news on all the news now sites now, KG. That's going to be snapped up.
Yeah, but this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about players with technical ability, with stuff about him. He can play deep, or he can play as an 8/10 if you need him. That's what I'm talking about. Right now, we're stuck with Adam Forshaw that's running around like a lost dog all over the place with no ball, and just getting his heat map stats up with no quality on the ball. We have to move on.
It is an important summer for Leeds.
Brownie, can I just before you go on, mate? Let me just get this comment up. Sorry, mate. Cooper's in the same breath as Costa there, Connor. That was ridiculous. Cooper is still better than the three other centre backs we have. This. I think, Jamie. I think this is the problem, mate. I think we've got to evolve our mentality. You're completely correct. Cooper has been very good when he's played for Leeds United in the Premier League, I think. But we have to evolve a little bit now. And when I mentioned Helder Costa, that was just reeling off players who are still at this club, and they've still been at this club for 3 or 4 years. And there needs to be an evolution now with this Leeds United side. I think that's what we're going to start seeing in the summer. I don't think we're going to be able to do it all in the summer, because it's going to be too much work. And for me, we needed to start this in January, and we haven't. We've left it to the summer, by the by. But players, we are going to have to start seeing players like Liam Cooper, players like Adam Forshaw, players like Matthias Klich. They're going to have to there's going to have to be a little bit of an ebbing out process here. That's football. That's life.
I'm gonna jump in with Jamie. I never thought I'd hear myself say it, to be honest. But I think Liam, I've gone to nearly every game. He has been a difference when he's not played. I'm not saying he's a quality centre back. I'm not saying that he's Franz Beckenbauer. He has been a difference. He really has.
Guys, just before you go on, Dean Barclay here. And this is what I'm talking about. You always have to bring up the full point, otherwise people don't get it. Dean's talking about KG bringing up championship players and then saying Berg. Well, that means then when Brennan Johnson comes up and rips up the Prem, you're not going to want him. When Jed Spence comes up and rips up the Prem, you're not going to want him. Elise, Eze at Palace right now.
Mahrez.
Come on, people. Be sensible.
I agree with KG. I mean, players that we're talking about, like your Forshaw, they have played in the Championship, come up to Premier League. What other Premier League clubs go and buy them?
Exactly.
For me, not. What other clubs would go and buy your Elises? You'd go and buy your Johnsons.
Yeah.
There'd be loads of clubs after him. So there is quality. Like Phillips, he was in the Championship. He could pick his team if he wanted, Calvin Phillips. Yeah. So there are players in the Championship. Ivan Toney, he's come up and he's scored goals again. There is quality in the Championship to go
Context, people. Context.
But that's what we're just talking. But we're just talking about Liam Cooper there.
But I will. But Liam Cooper, I think.
No, but I agree with you, Brownie. But and I don't think we actually need to invest in the centre back department at the minute. So this is just it's a clarification comment. But when do you ever look? I know Liam Cooper's recency bias, isn't it? It's performance bias at the minute. He's come back, he's done brilliantly, and I do like Cooper. I know this is going to sound like I don't, but I do. But what's the next phase then with Liam Cooper? Is it a contract handout? What are we talking about here? What's the next step? Are we going into next season and are we thinking Coops has got to start as captain, and then the season after Coops has got to start as captain?
No, but I think that Levente has been a rabbit in headlights for the last
100%.
And I think Strike has as well. Since Cooper went out, I know we were shipping goals, but since Cooper went out, we were shipping all sorts of goals. We really were. And I thought Greenwood came on and was brilliant in the Watford game. He nipped in and he took on for the team. And the first person over there was Cooper, picking him up, smacking him on the back. He's a leader. And I didn't realise how much of a leader he was until he wasn't in that team. Because we've said it, myself, KG said it, you said it, Connor. Like when Ayling had the armband and I'm not saying refs will listen to Liam Cooper, but there was never anybody around the ref. There was never anybody doing anything. I mean, it could be a Jesse Marsh thing who he's brought in and he wants more people being vocal. And he wants more people around the ref. That could play a part. But I just think we were so fragile. And it was so evident when Cooper wasn't in the team. And I'm not saying he's a better centre-back than Strike. I'm not saying he's a better centre-back than Levente. I'm not saying he's a better centre-back than Koch. But we missed him. We really did. And then other centre backs, I'll take Koch out of it because I think he's done well when he's gone in centre back. But them other two centre backs, well, for whatever reason, they have needed to step out of the team.
Sorry, done it again. I actually noticed this time. But when do you make that transition then? Let's say...
How old is Cooper? Sorry, Connor. How old is it? Can anybody say in the chat? Because it feels like he's been around forever, but I don't know if we bought him young. Because he's been through 10 managers. And for all 10 managers, to keep him as captain, he's got to have something in the... He's got
Brownie, but he wasn't the main one, though, when it was Janssen and Bartley. They were our main two, weren't they, that year, under Monk?
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah.
And can I just say this isn't an agenda at all against Liam Cooper. It is not. I think what it is. I tell you what, it encompasses my feeling towards Leeds moving on in general. It's not, it's leaving that mentality behind of these players, but it is difficult when Liam Cooper's coming in and putting the performances that he is at the minute. KG, we've got to look forward. We have, but when Liam Cooper's almost playing for his position, which he is now, and he's putting in good performances, I do agree with Brownie. How would you go about it, mate? That's what I'm trying to say. How do you think Leeds should go about doing this?
Well, listen, it's quite simple with this. Well, it's not simple, but I'll give a few scenarios. With Liam Cooper, we can either keep him around, which it looks like the club will want to do with him and Dallas and Ayling. Dallas, I have no issue with. But if you're going to keep Liam Cooper around, it's going to have to be, for me, like a Mark Noble thing, where he's just the captain. He's on the bench, chill, come on in charity minutes and, have your clap and everything there, that kind of thing. But if you're looking, the way I see it, and I try and give this to other people, when you go around the teams where I want us to go, I look at their defenders and I say, well, who does Liam Cooper take out of their starting defense? And there is nobody. There's not one. So for where I want Leeds United to go in the table, he's not going to take us there, unfortunately. As nice a guy as he is, as good a captain as he is, we need to be better there. We need to have more agile players there. We need to have more mobile players there. Because it's all well and good doing what he's done against Watford and everything, but we've seen it when he comes up again, recency biases there. But when he comes up against players that have got a little bit about him, he does get spun quite a bit. And that cannot be argued. So
yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah. It will be interesting.
It's been incredibly disrespectful to a consummate pro and proven form. It's not disrespectful. We're just having a conversation about how Leeds are able to move on. It's a difficult conversation to have, but people don't have these conversations. So we're bringing them to the fore, really.
Connor, can I just tell you, these kind of comments here, and there's nothing wrong with them, but this is how I feel the board have been as well. They don't want these conversations either, which is why we're probably going to still see half of these guys here when we start the season next year.
Yeah. I think KG makes a great point. I think the next run of games are difficult games. It'll be interesting to see how he does in them games when it's not a Watford, it's not a Norwich, it's not a Southampton. And I put the same token to Marsh. I want to see how his team adapts to an Arsenal, a Chelsea, a Man City. Because, we all say we got these points. We all think we should have got them points. These games coming up are games where we can see how a Cooper does against, I don't know, a Zaha cutting in and running at him. He'll have a Lacazette trying to spin. Well, we might not with what's going on with Arsenal, but you'll have real quality players up against him.
It's a really good point, that, Brownie. I like that point because it's where Leeds are looking, isn't it? Well, we're not, without any disrespect, in the years coming, you're expecting Leeds to beat, obviously when they come up, the Fulhams, the Bournemouths, potentially the Huddersfields, Luton, whoever come up, you're expecting that. But you want Leeds to progress, don't you? So when we're coming up against the Crystal Palaces, the Leicesters, the teams of that ilk, the Southamptons, that's when you're really judging a Liam Cooper, isn't it? That's when you're really judging a Diego Llorente, because these are the games where Leeds, we want to be toppling these sides.
And that's where you say about the evolution comes into it. And that's why I think KG wants to see these, there's no way, good way of saying it, but shipped out. Because, we do well against the Watfords, the Norwich, the Bournemouths, the Fulhams, your Burnleys. But we've been getting blown away by the other teams. We've been getting blown away by the teams at the other end of the table. And we're not going to compete with them until we do evolve.
Really interesting chat, lads.
But it is hard because of what they have done for the club and where we've come from. But if we can ship Bielsa out, we can ship anyone out at the end of the day.
It's true. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, just the last bit on that, in terms of transitioning though, the thing for me though is when I see fans wanting European football but still wanting the same batch of players, like you can't have both, I'm afraid. So you're gonna have to either move on and say thank you for everything you've done, or just stick with what we've got and we'll be in this position next season.
Yeah. I think that's why when you look at the positioning next season, I'm maybe not of the mindset that Leeds are going to... I mean, I don't think an overhaul is necessary, but I think a lot of bodies going out of the club is essential, really, for Leeds to actually recoup some money as well. But I do wonder, are Leeds going to go out there and splash money on 4 or 5 signings? I don't know if we are. So if we are looking at a scenario, again, where we are getting rid of a lot of bodies, maybe bringing in 2 or 3 good additions, but still 2 or 3 good additions, and we've still got a few problems, like, for example, last year, when we didn't address the central midfield problem in the summer, I do think to myself that that's where I'm going to base my next season prediction and expectations on, really. I'm going to turn around and say, look, if we do bring 2 or 3 players in, obviously dependent on them, but I do think we need more than that. I'm probably going to look at the table and think, right, well, other clubs have strengthened, which we expect them to do again. You're probably looking at another relegation battle down there, aren't you?
I mean, if we don't bring a centre midfielder in this summer, I don't know what to say. I'd be lost for words. It's hard to shut me up, but I'd be lost for words if we didn't bring a centre midfielder in.
I think a striker as well. Another striker is just key. It's just
again, it's like me and KG said when you got cut off. We've never been in a position where we have 2 quality players in a lot of positions. It's been one here, one there, and then with our injury record, you're looking at a depleted squad. And like you say, you want a striker to come in to accompany Bamford. I want more than one midfielder to come in. How we've not signed one since Forshaw arrived, it's a travesty, really. But we are where we are, and I keep thinking of the ground upgrade. That's not gonna. The money for that isn't gonna grow on trees. They spoke about increasing the capacity for ages. That's gonna cost millions.
Well, especially if you've got a reported what is it, 10 to 15,000 people waiting for season tickets. The 49ers, who are well known for, that's one of the first things they did at the San Francisco 49ers. They built, they were looking at the facilities. I believe they built on the stadium, or they might have moved them, but that was one of the first things, the first initiatives they came in and did. So you do think to yourself, they're going to earn a lot of money by getting those extra 15, 20,000 people in the stadium, aren't they?
Definitely, yeah. So they could offset it that way, knowing that they've got the 15, 20,000 season ticket holders waiting. So that could solve that problem. But yeah, as for transfers, it's a big summer, because one of the big two names that we've got, I think, will leave in the summer.
Yeah,
and you're then looking at our squad without one of them, and that is relegation team if you're not bringing players in. But I'm sure the board will address it and bring in what we need. They always say get over the first 2 years, don't they? So we're 7 games away from getting over that first 2 years.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's get into the Palace preview, shall we? Let's have a little bit of a chat on it. KG, what have you made of Palace so far this season?
Yeah, no, I think it's been good to see him step up. I've always been critical of Roy Hodgson's Crystal Palace. I thought that's the wrong way to stay in the Premier League for me, just being happy to be here, which is what Roy Hodgson Crystal Palace were, just very defensive, just batten down the hatches. But under Vieira, they've improved their style of play. He's transforming the squad. I mean, Brownie mentioned the goal scored, but they've still only got Ayew and Benteke up front. So I think they'll probably address that in the summer. They're looking to keep Conor Gallagher in the summer too, which is major for them, because you could see. I mean, again, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but when you see the difference between Conor Gallagher being missing and them having to bring in James McArthur, I mean, there's just no. James McArthur is the kind of player we've got right now. That's the Adam Forshaw. It's just that reliable midfielder that's not going to do much, and you can tell the difference between him and a Conor Gallagher. So I like what they've done. They're a lot more easier on the eye. Elise, Eze, players like that. And of course, you know what? They brought in 2 new centre backs, and you would have thought they've been playing together for a while. In all fairness, I think they've done very well. Anderson and Gay. So kudos to them. I say. I know Brownie's talking about their points total and everything, but they are Crystal Palace at the end of the day, and they did have to bring in a lot of players. And the FA Cup semi-final. I mean, I wish we could get to a semi-final. Yeah. You know what I mean? So kudos to Palace and to Vieira, man.
I'm not saying they've had a bad season. I like the comments that just popped up there. One, Palace have had a great season. We've won the same games, and we've had an horrendous one. And I think that's the levels of how you perceive Crystal Palace and how you perceive Leeds United. We've both won 8 games of football. They've had an amazing season. We've had an horrific one.
I guess they'll lose in 5 less games. They'd put you. I mean, Bielsa wouldn't be sacked, would he? Let's be honest.
And also by 5, 6, 7 as well.
I mean, we've had this debate. We've had this debate many a times. At the end of the day, they're on 37 points. We're on 33. Don't matter how you get them. Doesn't matter how you get the points. For me, that's my opinion. I know football's a game of opinions, but it's a results business, and it's your points are where you get you at the end of the season.
I think I quite like the thing. What I've liked about Palace this season is I mean, Selhurst Park's it's a bit spicy anyway, isn't it? Is it the Holmesdale end where they've got all the ultras? It's fantastic. But I quite like how big teams have gone there, and Palace have just said, right, come on, we'll take you on. We're not going to respect you. We're going to absolutely, obliterate you with the press that Conor Gallagher starts, and we're going to pick you off with the quality that we have, Eze, Elise, Zaha. And I love that. They don't care who they're coming up against. And that's kind of what I want for Leeds a little bit. It's for Man United to come to town and us to be like, oh, come on, then we'll take you on. We'll play our game. We'll force our game on top of you. And that's what I'd like for Leeds next season. I don't necessarily want Leeds to be, I mean, I'd love Leeds to be in Europe, but I think realistically it's not going to be that. But a Palace-esque season, where Jesse Marsh has done a little bit more of a Patrick Vieira, KG, and we've beaten an Arsenal at home, we've beaten a Tottenham away, or, that sort of thing where we've got a couple of top 6s under our belt and had a decent cup run. I think we'd all be very, very happy with that.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to get Europe next season. I mean, that would be a miracle. I mean, the recruitment would be fantastic in the summer, but yeah, it's about progression. And I think, if you're a Palace fan, you've seen that this season. I mean, they've had a day out at Wembley. I know Wembley at the semi-finals a bit of a topic, but they've managed to do it, haven't they? And that's what I want to see as well. I want to see us look at games where we're not the humble guys. Like Jesse says, a lot of these guys don't have egos. I need the players to have a bit of an ego. I know everyone likes the nicey posts and everything else, like it's all cutesy. I need them to show a bit of metal now. I need the next phase where these guys will look at a game against Man City and say, you know what, we're gonna go for it. We're gonna go for it no matter what, but in a sensible way, not like we did. Earlier in the season.
Is it expectations for me? Because I mean, KG made a point then about the Roy Hodgson Palace, and I think he was spot on. And is it because of how they've always been around the bottom three, and now they're in mid-table? Are people getting a little bit? Because, like I said, and you say we've won the same amount of games, and then Connor, you've touched on the home form about how they have a go team. They've won 5 games at home. We've won 4 at home. Is it expectations that they are perceived as being a team near the bottom year after year, and this season they're just a little bit higher up?
Yeah, Brad.
Or is it that they are really good? Because
no. It's a mix of everything. Because what it was before, they would, when people say one man team, I always like roll my eyes at that. But they were literally relying on Zaha for so many years. Like, it was unbelievable. But now they've got so many different outlets. They were mega defensive before. That's why when we went there and they scored 4, that should never happen. But that's what they were at that time. Yeah, you remember, Connor, yeah. But that's what they were. But now what they've got is they've got a style of play. People can see the recruitment. The recruitment's been pretty good this season. You can see them building on that come the summer. I think that's what it is, Brownie, because they were always close to relegation.
Yeah.
But the Roy Hodgson defensive system always got them out. I remember used to play MacArthur, McCarthy, Mihailovic, or all these guys just stinking up the joint. But now, Palace are a much better team to watch. I think that's what it is too.
Yeah, because I was the same. I like the comments coming in. It's like Palace have been great. Palace have had a great season. They play good football. They've done this, they've done that. And I thought, look at the table, and they're 4 points above us, and we're horrific. And
Have they got games in hand on us?
Got one game in hand, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, what Kate says is right though. The players, they've been adding like the Gallagher. They've been adding where I think we've sort of like stagnated, where we haven't added. They've been adding, and yeah, I think maybe it is just that expectation thing where Palace seem to always be near the bottom in that relegation battle till the end, and this season they're just a little bit more comfortable.
I think,
just quickly, Connor, and also Tyreek Mitchell, shout out to him, newly minted England international. Again, another one that's progressed under Crystal Palace. So just quickly there.
Yeah, unbelievable player. What season he's had, by the way. Dean Barclay, wasn't that what we were doing under Bielsa, Connor? I mean, it was last season, mate, but I think this season under Bielsa, if we're all being completely honest, was absolutely horrendous. It wasn't good football and it wasn't good results. And they're the two things that you need in the Premier League. If you stay with someone, I think. But I think it's going to be a tough game, isn't it? Palace under the lights. I love Brownie. You must have been in adoration on how they changed the timing of the fixture. What was it, 3 weeks ago to a Monday night at 8 o'clock? Fantastic.
No, it's not, mate. It's really not funny, to be honest. I'm getting a 5:20 train out of Doncaster that gets into King's Cross at 7. I've then got to get a train from King's Cross to Norwood Junction and then run half a mile to Selhurst Park. Still don't know how I'm getting home, to be honest. I haven't even looked that far. So
Premier in?
I don't know, mate. I mean, I saw something come out today about they want managers to do halftime team talk. It's turning into a TV show. It's doing me head in. It really is. Like, how can they change a fixture when it's not like this game's got anything really? It's not like a title decider, or it's not a 6-pointer at the bottom. It does not need to be 8 o'clock on a Monday night. It really doesn't. And if they are going to change it. Give people more than 3 weeks' notice. I think honestly, mate, I'm getting wound up thinking about it. I think it's scandalous.
It is shocking. It is shocking, to be fair. It's really bad. It is really bad.
And then
they don't care.
The last train out, you can't get to it because you got to get from South London to King's Cross. You just can't get back across to it. And then the price of the trains I mean, the FA Cup semi-final at the weekend, the Man City Liverpool game.
Yeah, that was unbelievable.
Why is that at Wembley?
Yeah,
there's just no need. There was 73,000 in the ground.
No, I think City actually sent 4,000 back.
Yeah,
Because
put it at Old Trafford.
Just not.
Put it at Old Trafford, where every we all have a laugh and a joke about Man City not selling out and everything. The cost of living at the minute is ridiculous. I mean, look at fuel. I mean, I know Leeds sell out everywhere they go and we're bonkers, but Old Trafford is what, half an hour from Liverpool, and it's in Manchester. Just put
even if you don't want to do it in Manchester because there might be some bias towards Man City or whatever, you do it at Villa Park.
Yeah, just do something to help fans these days, and it just seems like it's going the complete other way for me.
It does, mate. It does. It's shocking. Gabe S. Chances for a Marsh Vieira touchline clash. Apparently, they had salty words coaching against each other in MLS. Who you picking for that one, lads? I'd probably go Vieira, to be honest.
Oh, Vieira all day long, but Marsh loves a dust up, man. So.
Yeah, it's when I saw him going for Beckham, you know, when him and Beckham had that little bit of a tear up. He's got a little bit of.
No, I bet Marsh has got. I bet he's got a little quick jab and out. I bet he could get in and out, duck and dive. But yeah, I would like to run into Vieira.
Vieira's just got the stomp though, hasn't he? But yeah.
So are you two fearing the worst then? Monday night.
We're just going to get into that, I guess. Monday night under the lights, fellas. Score predictions, Brownie. What we saying? Get my pen out. Debrief pen.
It's so hard, isn't it? Leeds, just a quick one. Are Leeds the worst team to predict? Because you just do not know what Leeds is going to turn up. Because that Watford game, you're right, Connor. That Watford game was horrific for 72 minutes. It was so bad, and then we run out 3-0 winners.
Was that Watford just being terrible?
Yeah, if we'd have played someone good, we'd have been 5-0 down.
They couldn't finish, Connor. They couldn't finish. It's the story of their season.
It's like we were talking about, you know, with loser KG in that last game. It's like when Sarr goes through, we're all just here. We're like, here we go, 1-1.
And it's that. For me, it's that, and this is what I'm really looking forward to beyond the Palace game. I know we digest. I'm really looking forward to, because Marsh said it when he came in, that he'll adapt to different teams. I'm really looking forward to what he does against a Man City, against a Chelsea, against an Arsenal. Because if we play that compact, Cancelo and Walker are going to have an absolute field day, because Watford were doing it. It's just they've not got the quality to hurt us. If top teams do that, I'm concerned. And this is what's worrying me a little bit about the Palace game. Their wide players are what can really hurt us. So if they're left in all that space,
I think Villa was probably the blueprint, wasn't it? And I know, look, the players weren't on it. It was a very confusing game, that one. But Villa just played so wide, and I think Wolves did in the first half as well. They made a point of playing really, really wide, and obviously Leeds was so compact that anytime the ball was switched, the whole team had to move over, and Dallas was just exposed against, I think it was Trincao, wasn't it? Over and over and over again. And if you're doing that against City, if you're doing that against Arsenal, it's good night Vienna, isn't it?
I'm going to go for a 1-1.
Sorry.
No, you're right. You're right. I'm going to go for a 1-1, but
who's scoring?
It's not a confident 1-1. Who's playing? Jesus.
Dan James?
No.
Jack Harrison.
Hey.
I could see him scoring, to be fair. I could see him scoring. Yeah. Right, 1-1. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, just on what Brownie says there about playing against the better teams, I'm not expecting anything against the Man Cities or anything else like that, because I'm still very aware that this team is not very good. So, see, they want Harrison to score now. But yeah, I mean, that's the same for me as well, though, Brownie. I just want to see in the manner we get beat. I want to see if that improves. I mean, what a sentence, but I just want to see if that's much different from how we've been getting beat previously this season. So, listen, score prediction. How many times we're going to hear Glad all over? I don't know.
Good tune, to be fair.
It really is catchy. It's annoying.
Very catchy. Find myself anytime they're playing against an opposition team, I'm there like,
And don't they do that thing with the scorer before where they go like Wilfred and the crowd goes, Zaha? It's like, I like it. But, all right. Okay. Yeah.
We'll be doing that. We'll be going, Liam, Cooper.
Oh Lord! All right.
It's such a hard game to predict. It's a hard game to predict.
It's really tough.
It could go anywhere.
Do you not have to say like Leeds have to be really, really careful with all these ballers who are very good close control wise, Elise, Eze, Zaha, like because they're going to be trying to do madnesses in the penalty box.
It will be, but on the flip side, and I've just thought that then their players are out wide. What have they got in them?
Mateta, big 6'5" unit. But I don't know if he can score. I think he's just a body, isn't he? But I think he scored actually against Arsenal, did he? KG?
Yeah, he's spotty again. They haven't got a consistent striker.
No.
So
we've been happy to let the wide players have the ball and say we're going to defend the centre of our box.
Yeah, but then you have to but then that's it as well. You have to be aware of the late run from Conor Gallagher because he's capable.
I don't know. I just don't know what we do with him. Do you literally
Phillips,
just put
Phillips is back and he'll mince him up?
But he's got.
If Phillips had started, I do like the sound of that much more than what's been happening before.
I'm surprised. It's not. He didn't play in the first game. To be honest, I thought he'd have played in that one.
It's not to take it away from him, but would you just stick Phillips on him, follow him around, just that one play, not the entire man marking system, but would you be adverse to just sticking Phillips on him and alienating him from the game?
Yeah, I would. If he sees fit as that the way to do it, because what it is the difference is Phillips is capable of doing it.
Yeah,
we've seen him do it against better. We saw it against Bruno Fernandes last year. Yeah. He's when that's what I'm talking about in the difference in quality. It's not just about having Forshaw or click on him. It's about having someone who's capable. So
have I just heard Connor ask for the man-to-man system?
Yeah, one player.
No.
Have I heard?
See, here we go. Context again.
I thought I was hearing things, but I'm sure
I don't want Firpo man marking Elise. Thank you very much.
Oh man. So yeah, Connor, what's your score then? Yeah.
What's yours, my friend? You didn't give me yours.
Right. Okay.
It's hard.
Do you want me to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'm gonna say 2-2. There we go.
Oh God's sake, man.
Yeah, 2-2.
Who's gonna score?
Good old Desmond. Rodrigo and
Liam Cooper.
And Greenwood.
Oh,
Greenwood.
I've got a feeling we'll score a corner.
Wow.
I really got a feeling we'll score a corner. Hey, Watford had a premonition we were going to celebrate in the away end in the sun. That happened. So there's going to be a corner. That's your bet. Get us scoring a corner.
There's not going to be no sun though. It's at 8 p.m, isn't it?
No, that was the Watford game.
I think we're going to lose this 2-0. Yeah, there we go. Do you know what happens, everyone? And I'll be honest here, I'll be transparent. I do go on the group chat, our group chat, and I am confident. Well, I'm not confident. These two just convince me a little bit, and I'll come out with the score, and I'll always get the score wrong. But then I'll go in the group chat, and I get it nearer. So I'm gonna go with the group chat, Connor, instead. I think this is going to be a little bit difficult, but I don't know if this is going to be enough. I have said in the group chat, and I have said on here before, I think as a positive to end it on, we're going to get something against Chelsea. Just got a bit of a feeling with Chelsea. I don't know what it is, but I just think we could get some in there. I do. No, I believe it. I'm going to go out there and say it. So there you go.
So you don't think we're getting anything at Palace?
Yeah.
But
Chelsea,
who have just put 6 past Southampton.
Look at Chelsea's fixture list. They've got a lot of games, so a lot of players could be rested. So yeah, that could be one where we nick something. I'm seeing people saying we're going to go to Arsenal and beat them because Arsenal have lost 3 out of 5. I don't see that happening.
When do Man City play their Champions League game?
I think someone sent me something.
I think is it next week? I I think
I hope
it's
they
next
make 11 I hope they make 11 changes for us.
Yeah, but their 11 changes I'm still worried about.
Round, their 11 changes is Grealish coming on and I mean, come on.
I don't know what their weakest like. If they were to have a full rotation, 11,
Definitely
11
the keeper.
I don't
After
yeah,
the
yeah,
FA Cup semi-final,
yeah.
definitely that keeper.
Yeah,
What
true.
I will say, Connor, is that you haven't obviously accounted for King Kai. Okay, King Kai is going to probably have fun against Leeds United.
Well, it didn't last season. He didn't last season.
Has he even given his score yet?
Yeah, 2-0 Palace.
2-0 Palace.
Yeah,
and that was the nearer one.
What do you mean? That was the nearer one.
You said you're going to go with the nearer one. What was the unnearer one?
Oh, what you mean in the group chat? If I'd have told you guys in the group chat, no, in the group chat, what I'd have done on here is I'd have turned around and said, I'd have sat on the fence like you two. I'd have said something like 0-0 or 1-1, and then on the group chat, I'd have told you guys, yeah, we're going to lose. So I'm just going to be transparent on here. I'm going to be purely honest. So
that's the first time for everything, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think in all fairness, Firpo's gonna be an interesting one. I'm actually praying. Anyway, I'm not going. No, can't say it now. Okay, we'll leave it there, guys. We've been going for an hour and 22 minutes. Manchester United versus Liverpool for your evening entertainment is on at 8 p.m. Make sure you go check that one out. I'm hoping for an entertaining night, definitely. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. We will be back actually it's Palace's Monday, isn't it? So we'll be back sometime next week. It's probably going to be early next week, but obviously not the Monday. Go check out KG's channel. The link's in the description below. Brownie's Twitter, if you've missed it, what are you doing? Links in the description below. Check out BetMate as well, guys. We will be focusing a little bit more on that in the preview. And I will catch you in a bit. Lads, cheers for joining. See you in a bit.